What's going on, guys? Alpine Grumman here with some more World of Tanks. My internet is kind of functional. The game is at least playable. So I have been putting in some more hours, especially because my buddy has been really getting into WoT again. So I have been accompanying him on his journey to Tier 10. Um, and so I decided that I was going to pick up the Batshot grind again. You remember the last time I was on the 1375, I had finally unlocked the 1390. Now this isn't not any kind of final, my final thoughts on the tank because I just got it. I've only played about 20 or so battles in it, but it's definitely looking to be a fun vehicle. And the 90mm gun on it is looking really nice. That really ups up your clip potential and allows you to put in some more alpha damage. The extra penetration means that you don't really have to rely so much on premium rounds, though I still do carry, if you see down there at the bottom of the screen, 12, so 2 drums of APCR. But the rest I carry just straight AP because I feel like in most cases that's enough. So we're in a tier 10 maximum game here on Karelia. We got some, there's a couple really good tier 10 medium players on the other team, and so I'm looking at the enemy team composition, and I'm thinking, well, it's definitely gonna be a fight for the donut and the hill over there. Now remember, that's a very important map control position, so both teams are gonna be wanting to get up there if they want to provide supporting fire for their other flanks. So we do have a good amount of our mediums going there. But you're going to see that the enemy makes a very aggressive push for that hill. T49 gets spotted, TVP gets spotted, Object 140, E50, and I'm thinking, no way, I'm not going up there. The majority of our support is slow getting up, so they've already established a presence on the hill. So I have no intention of going up there to contest that, especially not with a T49, 2 T49s up there. So, we've lost the initial map control gambit there, but I'm still going to do, so what can I do now? Well, I'm going to try and play around it. You guys know that based on how I've been playing the 1375 and all the other mediums before it, I'm going to play this more like a medium tank. And so I'm trying to get some supporting fire shots onto that T54. And so I'm going to end up, I don't get any more hits into him, but I do put one. I do get spotted by that enemy T49, however, so I need to get moving. I don't want to get shot by that dangerous 152mm, but he actually only pops me for 222 with a heat round. So that indicates to me that he has the, I don't remember. It's the auto loader, I think, because I know it doesn't have to use that gun. But anyway, so now I'm establishing kind of a firing position here. I'm trying to look for shots here on the hill to get some fire on anybody that's trying to peek over. Now this is not a very impressive game, performance-wise, but it does come down to the wire, and I do end up getting my shit together a little bit and actually managing to take home a win. But you're gonna see. So now we could see the Batshot, the M41 Grand Finals, and my buddy Noobs in his M46. They've gone around. They're gonna try another approach. They're gonna try the backside approach on the hill, in order to try and catch the enemies off guard. But unfortunately, that T54 was in the perfect position to spot them all, and he's effectively ruined their chance for a sneak attack. But I'm here. I got my camo and binocs deployed. I'm putting some good concealed fire into the enemy tanks, and you can see the binocs and camo. I do have this thing set up for passive scouting, although there really haven't been that many opportunities to actually light for my team yet. They've all been pretty aggressive, and nobody is really camping too hard, with the exception of our 2 Tier 8 TDs keeping the base secure. But there really hasn't been too many opportunities for me to actually scout for my team, so I'm just kind of sitting back and trying to conserve a little bit of HP put as much supporting fire as possible. I ended up getting that T-49 killed, but unfortunately you can see that little counterattack on the hill has failed miserably. We ended up losing our Batshat, T-54, and Noobs ended up, was the last one up there and ended up just getting completely demolished by the enemy team. And so they still hold the hill, which means they still hold map control, and we've lost some very strong tanks. We're actually leading by points, but that's not going to last for too much longer. I mean, we're leading by tanks, but that's not going to last for a whole forever. So I see the Object 268, the OHO, and a couple mediums have now responded to the attack on the base. Now I want you guys to notice that I don't reload as often as I did in the 1390 and the 12 ton, because the reload on this is like around 40 seconds, even with the 100% crew I'm running. And so because of that, I notice that I've been tending to keep, even if it's 3 or 4 rounds, I tend to keep the gun loaded rather than trying to take a reload, because 40 seconds is a long time to be out of the game, and you can see just how long I have to wait around for my drum to be reloaded. But so my plan here is I need to help this M4A1 Rev and the 121. They are under attack from a lot of from a tier 10 medium, a tier 10 TD, and a tier 9 medium. So I need to get in there and run some interference. Now this is what this tank. So this is when me playing as a medium kind of comes in handy. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to get the drop on these guys. Now I whiff my first shot over the 140. I keep going and instead decide to take out the 268, who I can one-shot. I want to remove guns shooting at me. So rather than trying to stick around in front of the 268, I instead am going to go for the I'm instead going to go for the 268. I'm going to juke him. I'm going to kill the 268. The 140 takes a hit from the Rev, who capitalizes on me going in there, and I take out the 140. So I do whiff a couple shots into the ground, but overall it was a pretty successful run, at least where my team is concerned. Unfortunately, the M4A1 Rev gets annihilated by the M48 Patton, and the 121 gets killed by that Jagdpanzer E100. Now that Jaegeru showing up has really changed things. I can't stick around here anymore, especially because I'm reloaded. You're also going to notice they still have that map control position on the donut. So any movement I make is going to result in me coming under a lot of fire. So I really have to time my movements right when they're not going to be, overwatching that position. Right now, all of their guns are pointed at that hill because they were supporting their teammates in defense of our push on their cap. So the majority of the guys on that hill are going to be, at least somewhat aware of what's going on, and I can't stay there with that Jagdpanzer coming up the hill. However, so, I'm basically taking stock of my situation here. I've got a T110E5. T110E5 is down there under the donut. But you're going to see that he's going to run into a lot more than he can handle. I got a Ferdinand, a Lorraine artillery piece, and an M41 Walker Bulldog, and me. The enemy team still has 2 of their tier 10 mediums, a tier 10 tank destroyer, a T-32, a 1375, and their artillery is still in play as well. Their artillery is you can kind of see in that glob of mess down there on the mini map that the M4043 is with that team, so it's not like he's just sitting in the base where I can go make a run on him. But I want you guys to pay attention to the map because, as of right now, the only person that's basically isolated is that Jagdpanzer E100. And so that's kind of what I'm taking stock of. And you'll notice I've loaded my first APCR magazine of the game in preparation for what I'm thinking here. So I'm going to try and take some shots at this T-32. But a better shot on the TVP presents itself. I'm still taking advantage of, the T-110E5 spotting, but he was just killed. So now we're down 1 tank, but the numbers alone, again, don't reflect the tactical situation. They still have a very dangerous tier 10 medium, a tier 10 TD. We have no tier 10s. And so it's here I choose to take a reload. and I tell the Walker Bulldog to come with me. But he doesn't seem to be too fond of the idea because he informs me that I'm ammo rack. That's why I looked at him back there. So anyway, so my plan is now, let me try to kill this Jagdpanzer 100, or at least take his health down, because he's the only person that I can safely attack without having to worry too much about the guys on the hill. He's the only one that's really alone, and someone that I won't immediately get, aggroed on by his team for attacking. But you can see right as I cross in front of this path, disaster strikes, and he has moved down from the cap, and that has allowed him to spot my approach. Now this guy is not stupid. He's reading my moves pretty well. You can see him shadowing me there on the top of the hill. And I actually take a bounce from the 1375, who is still there on the hill. I'm going to take another hit. Well, not a hit, but I'm going to take some more incoming fire from the T-32 as well. See, another shot is going to come in there now and bounces. Now, what you're going to see, because this is a critical moment in the game. Now, what you're going to see is a staple tactic that I love to do, and one that is very helpful when you're in a 1 versus 1 engagement. Now, what's important to remember is that those guys are not the ones spotting me. It's the Jagdpanzer E100. And this is stuff that I'm thinking about at this time. This Jagdpanzer 100 no longer has a line of sight on me, which means that in 5 seconds or so, I'm going to be off his radar. So I keep moving in this direction, and I'm looking back, and as soon as I lose sight of him, and this is a very important thing to know when you're in a 1 versus 1 engagement, when the enemy player goes dark, that means that you have lost your light as well, so you are no longer spotted. And the way I was moving indicated to him that I was still moving up that side of the hill. As soon as I go dark, I immediately turn it into the other direction. Now, he could very easily be calling my bullshit right now, but you're going to see I have switched directions. I'm going to come up hopefully behind him, and I am rewarded with exactly that. He thought I was going to be coming up the other side. I completely faked him out, and I'm going to dump my entire magazine into this guy. Now, this is dangerous, stopping in front of the guys that are still on the hill, but this is an important magazine dump. Now, I didn't have the DPM to kill him, but you're going to see that the artillery does have the damage to kill him, and that is their Jägeru out of the fight. Now, because I don't have a full magazine loaded anymore, I pop a regular AP mag back in. However, and I just narrowly get missed by the artillery there. However, the situation is looking rather dire. Even though we've killed that enemy, Jägeru, thanks to some artillery support, we still have an M41 Walker Bulldog who's one shot. That Ferdinand is about to die. He just got killed by the TVP. So it's just us 2 light tanks and the artillery. This is a situation where capping is probably the best option. It's going to take 1:40 to do so, however, so I'm not necessarily worried about the T-32 spotting me and coming up here because he's very slow. He's going to have to climb this hill. But I am worried about the TVP because he is fast enough. I'm also wary of the fact that artillery can blind fire, but that M41 moves down to run some interference for me. Now, I think he probably should have gotten on the cap. This situation would have been a lot less close if he had gotten on the cap, but he does end up stalling that T-32 for, a solid 5 or 6 seconds, which means that he definitely is not going to make it up this hill in time. There's 50 seconds left on the clock for the cap counter, and you can see the artillery just got spotted, which means that's definitely the T-32 putting shots into him. But remember, the TVP is also coming up, is going to be coming from the north more than likely. He killed our Ferdinand from our base. He's probably going to be coming up from the north. 30 seconds left on the cap counter. I peek up over the hill just to see where the T-32 is. He's still barely climbing that hill, but he did spot me, but that doesn't matter right now. The TVP is what I'm worried about. You can see there now, artillery just missed me. You can see the TVP right there coming up the hill. He's going to be coming up this way. You can see you can see me like panning my camera around. I'm desperately looking for a place where I can hunker down from this TVP. I'm looking around the cap circle and I find it right here. So I tuck into this little divot. The T-32 is not going to make it up in time, but the TVP will. The TVP gets spotted. He's in the cap, but I'm in the divot. He misses his first shot and his second, and that gives me enough time to capture the base for the win. So that was I don't think I did particularly well in terms of raw damage output, but I definitely came through in this game when I needed to. I needed to kill that. I needed to to damage that Jagdpanzer 100. He got killed by artillery. That was good. I needed to get on that cap circle, and that provided enough pressure. And the TVP was just too slow to get to where I was tucked in there to stop the cap. And so we ended up coming away with a win, and I did not think that was going to be... I didn't think that was going to be a win. A lot of times on this map, when you lose that donut, you lose map control. And a lot of times, once you lose that hill, you lose the match. It's very hard to come back from losing that hill. Should I have gone up and fought for it? I don't think so. I think I would have just gotten derped by one of those T-49s or the many mediums. Just because I play this like a medium doesn't mean I have the health or the alpha damage, or in some cases the armor to be slugging it out with other medium tanks. So you could see, remember right at the beginning, I just turned right away from that hill and decided to play around it. I think I did a little bit too much sitting around on my ass, in the north and in the base for the first half of that game. But I think in the end I did manage to conserve my tank to make these plays and to get on the cap. And so we ended up coming away with a win. So, it wasn't a particularly, I didn't do a whole lot of damage, but I still managed to make the right decisions, I think, in the end. And we came away with a victory. Alright, so let's take a look at the after action report. Alright, so here's the after action report for that game. So yeah, our artillery definitely put in some fucking work. Absolutely put in some fucking work. But we managed, in our tier 8 light, we managed to put in 2,500 damage. Now, I think that's pretty good for a light tank in this tier 10 game. We fired 22 shots with 9 direct hits and only 12 penetration, so it wasn't the best shooting on our part. If you notice, I was taking a lot of speculative, not fully aimed shots at range, and those were never going to hit. So, really, some pretty poor shooting, all things considered, for me in that game. But I couldn't, I couldn't play that hill. That's the biggest thing. Me not going to that hill is very important. And even though the hill is a very critical map control position, I took stock of what the enemy was putting up there. I took stock of what support I had, and I opted not to go there because I didn't have adequate support. I would have just gotten completely I would have been up there. I would have been locked down because the heavy tanks in the corridor would have shot me if I tried to leave. And if I had gone up there to try and get away, I would have just gotten swarmed by all the mediums and the lights that went up there. So I opted to play around it, and in the end, saving my tank like that ended up to allowing me to be in a position to win the game. So yeah, 2,515 damage. The most critical of that was that Jaegeru attack run, where we dumped an entire magazine into the guy for like 1,400 damage, and then have him getting finished off by the Arty. We actually did about 1,398 spotting damage, which isn't bad. And then the most important, obviously, game-winning would be the Invader medal, 100 base capture points. So fully captured the base, came away with a victory, thanks to saving my tank until the very critical moment. So yeah, this is not this is not an indicator of how I think the 1390 should be played. Like I said, I'm still getting used to it. I'm still getting my feelers out with how this tank plays. But yeah, it definitely seems similar to the 1375. And like I said, if the two bat shots that come after it play anything like it, I think I'm going to do pretty well. So keep an eye out for more 1390 gameplay and more videos in general. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching. Hope to see you again.